Alrighty, welcome back. And today we are going to be talking about the best extreme class teams in Dokkan. Now, this is not going to be like my official graphics and things like that we do, that my graphics guy makes and stuff like that. This is just going to be more talking about the extreme class teams in the game right now and sort of just different ways that you can set them up. This is going to be mostly me scrolling through the box here and showing you guys options that you could use within the game for the best extreme class teams. Now, typically, with the way that this game works, like if you don't know how the standard operating schedule works, throughout the year, typically we see a significantly less amount of extreme class units, whether that be Dokkan Festival TURs, whether that be, Dokkan Festival exclusive LRs, Carnival LRs, and stuff like that. We are in a bit of a unique situation right now where during a major celebration, both of the characters are an extreme class LR, and not only are they extreme class LRs, they are extreme tech LRs. So it is a bit of a unique situation where a lot of teams are going to be centered around these characters and stuff like that. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get started with today's video. Again, talking about the best extreme class teams within Dokkan as of right now. So the first thing I want to go over when we do videos like this is how we can sort our box to make this easy and see the options that you have. So for the first case here, I'm going to be doing the Omega Shenron team, right? The Omega Shenron team is certainly one of the best in the game, and you guys know at this point just how impactful that team is in terms of like whether it be the best team in the game, how good it is for difficult content and stuff like that. Let me go ahead and show you guys how you could sort your box in the easiest way, so that way you can see exactly who is on his team without having to go through categories like one by one. The first step in this process is clicking the yellow button at the bottom here. This is going to be your filter button. Now, once we press the filter button, what we're going to want to do is the category option, which is going to be here in this section of the game, the first button on the top left right here. Now, what we want to do is click this option on the right. This is the partial match option. Now, again, this isn't going to line up perfectly if you're playing global, but where the buttons are will. That is kind of how you learn how to play JP if you are interested in that. Now, what we need to do is sort it by Omega Shenron's lead. The first one is very easy, GT bosses. This is in English, so that one's super easy. Then we need to go down to the fifth button in green here, and that is going to be the Inhuman Deeds category. And then last but not least, we need the second to last in the yellow, which is going to be the Power Absorption category. Now we press OK, and then the last thing we want to do is press this button right here under the typings, which is going to filter it to extreme class. So now we press OK, and now we can see all of our options for the Omega Shenron team at one time. All of these characters are going to be fitting under his leader skill. Now, what I really like about this team in specific is just how many sizes fit this team and how many different ways that you can build it, and Omega Shenron is still going to be able to operate exactly the way you want him to. So what we could start with is sort of like a GT bosses centric setup, right? What we could do, this team got a lot worse after Baby lost his limited time buffs, but a specific way that we could set this team up right now, and it could still be pretty good, is you run the AGL Omega Shenron, then you would run the STR free-to-play Nova Shenron. I see this character all the time. The Legion of Shadow Dragons, this unit's also going to be very good. And if you played Battlefield during the Global Dokkan campaign, you were also granted a copy of this character. Then the last two units, if we are staying towards the GT bosses side of things, we want to scroll down to this Tech Sin Shenron. And then last but not least, we want the STR Super Easy A Omega Shenron. So a pure GT bosses team, this team 1000% can work in a very large majority of the content in the game, and you are going to notice that this team ends up being very, very good. Now, again, all we need to have for Omega Shenron to be running at full power, essentially, is having the extreme class allies around, right? Because this intro buff is based on extreme class allies. So you guys can see here, we have all of our extreme class allies. This team is going to be working out perfectly for you in terms of seeing Omega at his best. You have very good linking partners with Tech Sin Shenron, with the Legion of Shadow Dragons, with Nova Shenron, and then you want to float the AGL Omega Shenron and then the STR Omega Shenron, so that way they are getting links due to not having the same name as the character in the middle, rather than physical Omega Shenron. So So I think that this version of the team is very, very good right now. But there are definitely other ways that you could run that. So if we clear the board here of the GT bosses, we could run other different sort of setups that are going to work out pretty well. If you want to run like a Golden Frieza rotation somewhere, you could do this version of Golden Frieza and Gogeta. You could run Golden Frieza right here. And then really you just have freedom to put whoever you want in these spots, right? You could run Rose Goku Black as a Super EZA. This unit works very well in here. Rose and Zamasu as another rotation. And then if you really want, you could just float Omega for his support, his domain, all of that fun stuff. You could run the Legion of Shadow Dragons. You could run AGL Full Power Frieza. He can go in that spot. You can run the free-to-play Nova if you really need to. The Super EZA LR Broly, right? This version of Cell right here. This version of the Super EZA version of Buhan right here. This is a really good character. Omega Shenron, that Broly in an emergency. You probably don't need to be running that character, but if we go down here to the Dokkan Fest characters, you have units like Dirty Fireworks Vegeta, First Form Frieza, who's a bit mid at this point, right? Fat Boo, this character works out extremely well in a setup like this, right? You just have so many different options with this specific setup, with this team in specific, that there's just really an infinite amount of combinations that you could run for this team. If you even wanted to, in theory, what you could do is run essentially like almost a full Broly setup, right? You run this Broly, you run that Broly, you run it like this, right? You have Brolys everywhere. We have this version of Broly. We have this version of Broly. You can get away with this. Is it going to be tricky? Yeah, a little bit, but in theory, you could do it, right? You take this guy off the team, you put him on the team, you want him off, you could put him off, right? Like, there's just so many different ways that you can run the Omega Shenron team that I think easily this is one of the best extreme teams in the game, and there are not really many teams on this level. So the Omega Shenron team, definitely the first option here for best extreme teams. Let's go ahead and move on to the second one in the video, and that is going to be the Super Bosses setup. Now, Super Bosses is a fun one, right? Because it feels like it's a pretty relatively easy setup. Now, for beginners and more free-to-play centric players, there's a very simple setup for the Super Bosses team that does not cost a lot of stones if you have Rose. You do this, you go down here to your handy dandy TUR section, and then you just do this, right? You find your clones, find the rainbow ones. I have a lot of extra ones for some reason. And then there you go, right? Rose and the clones. Real good extreme class team. Didn't really survive the GDC content to the end, right? The part 3 fights really are not designed for these characters, but this team right here, especially if you are new, can do a lot of the content in the game right now. Now, if you want to try a different setup, what you could do to have hit on the team with an intro buff is run somebody like Kale Caulifla on the squad. You could run this Broly. You could run Gogeta and Frieza, right? This setup could work out pretty well for you. You could run Rose Goku Black here for his Super EZA. If you want to try like more of a future saga setup, you could do something like this without the clones, right? You could run like Tech Fusion Zamasu in short content. You take him off the team, you run Int Fusion Zamasu. You could run the Broly trio. You have Kale Caulifla. You have the free-to-play Super EZA Goku Zamasu unit, right? This guy for stacking events. You've got Kale Caulifla right here, right? This is a really good stacking unit as well. Who else is on this setup? I was looking for somebody and I forgot who it was. You have this Rose Goku Black right there, and then you are looking for, I'm drawing a blank, right? Like we talked about Broly. We can take him off the team, we can take the Broly trio off the team, and then you just sort of look around and see what you have. And in this case, a lot of Goku Black units in the game right now. But maybe what you want to do is pair like a Rose Zamasu rotation with the Fusion Zamasu. And then you want to pair a Rose and Zamasu with the Super EZA Goku Black. And then you just need good floating characters. Or you could have somebody stacking like this unit. You could do this unit. Super Bosses is in a really interesting spot right now. And I think it is actually a pretty good team. All things considered. I think in the Festival of Battles, you could run a setup like this. Maybe not this exactly in specific, but this team actually, I think, could work pretty well in there. The problem is this guy. Maybe if you ran like another stacking unit, I'm not really sure who that would be off the top of my head. I guess it would be Hit. But this setup would be a little bit finicky in terms of your rotations, I think. So maybe not the best, but I think that for an extreme class team, this one also ends up working out pretty well for you. And I really do like the way that this team is designed, just because there are a lot of different options that you could run it, right? Super Bosses is one of those ones that has a lot of versatility, a lot of different ways that you can use it. And overall, I just think more options, the better, right? There are a lot of yellow coin LRs, and I'm sure a lot of you ended up pulling during the Carnival banners that we have right now on the double rates banner for Broly, for Carnival Gogeta, for Rose Goku Black and Zamasu. So hopefully you guys have a lot of these units, and if you don't and you need help, you can always join the Discord with the link in the description. Joining the Discord is one of the best ways to be active with my community, as well as the viewers that watch these videos. There are a lot of helpful resources in that Discord, as well as a lot of helpful people who are willing to, you know, take time out of their day and assist you with team building, with how to clear like the Festival of Battles and stuff like that. We have a lot of good resources in that Discord, and I'd really appreciate it if you join. We're trying to get to 1K members by the end of the year, and we are over 900 right now. So if you want to join the Discord, go ahead with the link in the description. If it doesn't work, just let me know in the comments and I can always update it. So last but not least, for this video today, I want to talk about the Movie Bosses team. Now, if we go here, you guys know who is going to be leading the Movie Bosses team. This one's pretty simple. It's Golden Frieza and Gogeta, because that gives you access to Movie Heroes characters. But today we're keeping it confined to the extreme class setups. We're giving love to the villains today. So for Movie Bosses, right? This one is a little bit less versatile as the other teams that we have talked about in this video. Now, a unit I really like for Movie Bosses. Burori. We got Golden Frieza and Gogeta, fan favorites, right? The Super EZA Broly right here. I think that's a very, very good unit. Then this Tech Broly is probably somebody I would like. I like Int Broly in here as well. This Super EZA Broly is not horrendous. I think that's a pretty good character. If you need like a short form dodge or die unit, you could run Hirudegarn. It's going to be a little bit sketchy. But overall, this Janemba has decent support. Where you can run this guy, he's still pretty good with his 90% damage reduction. This Janemba's been getting a lot of love lately. I think this is a really good character as well. If you're doing like an EZA or something and you need a lot of damage quickly, this guy can get the job done for you for sure. He is a very high damage output unit. I think this Turles is okay. I like the Broly trio, especially with the way that they could potentially link up with another Dragon Ball Super Broly. They do have big bad bosses, but this is not a big bad boss centric team. If you are looking for something that's a little more centered around big bad bosses, you're going to want to take the Friezas off the team, right? And you want to run units that have big bad bosses. Cell Max, big bad bosses. Turles, big bad bosses, right? Janemba, big bad bosses. Metal Cooler, big bad bosses. Bojack, big bad bosses. You guys get the idea. I just went over like 6 or 7 units with big bad bosses, so I think that that's probably like a way that you could do it with Movie Bosses, and it's a very consistent team. I don't know if it's one that I'd be running all the time, and what I would probably do in this case is transfer a little more over to the Movie Heroes portion of this. So like if you wanted to run some Movie Bosses, I would probably run somebody like this Broly, I'd run this Broly, maybe Golden Frieza, and then I would go over to Movie Heroes and then do something like that, right? Like I would bring more Movie Hero centric characters, right? You have the LR Gods, you have AGL Gogeta, you've got somebody like Beast Gohan, Tech Gogeta, Physical Gogeta, right? Super EZA units. You got Pikkon if you need a Ghost Usher, things like that. Path to Power Kid Goku for the damage reduction support and the Rainbow Orb changing, right? These guys could potentially get their EZA. I don't know where it's at, but that is definitely another option. So that's basically it, right, when it comes to extreme class teams. If you guys want a super class version of this, I could always do it, but again, I just think right now super class is in a much different spot than extreme class, where there's just so many good super class options, but I'm not missing many of like the major extreme class options at this point. So like if we go to legendary power, right, and we go to the bottom, you basically can see all of the options here. But if we look here, right, like super class, all the LRs that I'm missing are super class. So like Gohan is the most major one here. You're not really running Pikkon in many places. That Gohan and Piccolo are just okay, and then Goku and Piccolo. So kind of weird that, you know, all of these characters, like, it is a bit bizarre, right? These are the ones I'm missing. Gohan, I just didn't really go that hard on, unfortunately. But it is what it is. So, you know, hopefully you guys were able to take something from this. Let me know what your favorite extreme team is down below. Thank you to all of my members over on the YouTube side of things. I appreciate you guys. If you want to become a member, you can click the join button. And it very much helps out the channel, right? It's another way to continue to support me, and I greatly appreciate it. Not required by any means. You watching the videos and supporting them is more than enough. But if you want to go that extra mile, it is always available to you, and I always am very grateful for it. So big shouts outs to all my members on the YouTube side of things. If you did enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like before you go. Subscribe for your news, that way you don't miss out on any of my Dokkan content. Thank you guys for always watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.